Fox News Podcasts presents the Bret Baier Podcast, Common Ground.
There are a number of senators on the Republican side that continue to want to find common ground.
We emphasize the conflict and controversy sells, and I think that's a problem because most Americans look at Washington and see something that's broken.
Why don't we look for ways that we celebrate what this country is capable of doing?
It's amazing what you can do when you get off social media and you start talking, communicating with one another because there is common ground.
With Fox News chief political anchor Bret Baier.
In tonight's Common Ground segment, Democrats and Republicans unite to defeat an effort to regulate campaign ads generated by artificial intelligence. Joining us to explain this, federal election commissioners Dara, Lindenbaum, a Democrat, and James Trey Trainor, a Republican. Thanks for being here. First of all, for folks who don't follow this, what does the FEC do? What's your mandate?
Sure. Thanks for having us. The FEC has a very narrow mission. We regulate campaign finance in federal elections. That's it.
That's it. Mm-hmm. But on this panel, Republicans and Democrats often don't agree. Is that fair?
That's fair. There's 6 of us. It's designed to be kind of hard to get things done with 3 on each side of the aisle. And so there are issues that we don't agree on. And this particular issue we're talking about today, we were able to come together.
And let's talk about that. So artificial intelligence is a concern for folks on Capitol Hill, worried about how it's going to impact elections. What was the panel's decision?
So the decision today was not to open a rulemaking. We'd been petitioned under the normal statutes to allow for a rulemaking. To come together and put in place regulations of artificial intelligence being used in campaign ads. And what we decided today was decline to do that because we don't currently have the jurisdiction under our statutes to be able to do that.
I mean, there is criticism of it, some write-ups. This is Public Citizen's Robert Weissman saying FEC inaction betrays its mission, leaves elections vulnerable. It's a misnomer that the FEC has adopted a compromise position. What it actually has done is adopt a compromise position, one that fails to uphold electoral integrity. In the best case, the FEC's inaction will spread public cynicism. In the worst case, it invites electoral chaos. Again, Robert Weissman, a Public Citizen. How do you respond to that?
Mr. Weissman can have his position, but I think it was really clear. What we did today was do pretty much exactly what they asked of us, was to clarify that the law already includes restrictions on how you fraudulently represent yourself. And here we are saying that the law is technology neutral. It doesn't matter what you use to fraudulently misrepresent your opponent. It's what you actually do and the action you take. So we did what they asked, and we worked for over a year to get this done. We had thousands of comments from the public, from members of Congress, helping guide us here, and we ultimately made a really great decision.
All right, we're going to take a quick pause here. We'll be back after this. The concern about AI is real, not just here on Capitol Hill, but around the country. This is more of a free speech action that you're taking.
This is very much a free speech action. As Dara said, we need to be technology neutral in how we regulate things in campaign ads. And once you start regulating specific technologies, government's putting their finger on the scale, deciding that certain technologies can be used and others can't be used. And we have to be neutral with regard to that and allow the campaigns to use whatever means they have to communicate with people.
What we also do is keep this more up to date by keeping it technology neutral. This is what we're doing right now, but we don't know what it's going to be like in a year, what the new technology is going to be.
Do you worry about AI?
Yes. I'm concerned about misinformation in AI. The changes that you can do with AI right now, they're pretty incredible. Misinformation has always been out there, but now because of the way that you can use generative AI, you can really push it out faster and better. I mean, my 5-year-old twins are a year away from being able to create an ad that says that I said they can have chocolate ice cream every morning. Anyone can really do this now, and I really think that people are quite scared.
They really shouldn't have chocolate ice cream every morning.
That's right.
Tell them that.
Yeah. But to your point about misinformation and how politicians in particular talk about it, that's where this free speech thing gets in. And you've made a decision, Republicans and Democrats coming together. This is Hillary Clinton talking about this week.
there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence.
So, that where that line is, Trey, is really, something we're battling with.
Well, I think we're battling with it, and I think what you just saw was what I've constantly railed against was an attempt to criminalize participation in politics, and I think being technology neutral is what keeps us from criminalizing participation in politics, and I think the decision that we made today not to create new rules actually clarifies that people can still go out there, put their information out as best they see fit, and the current statutes that we have protect against any type of fraudulent misrepresentation, and the fact that people they still have to disclose at the end of these ads who paid for the ad and who approved the ad.
Yeah, so what you're saying is no matter what technology they use, the campaign's still essentially owning that ad.
They have to stand by every ad, and if they don't have that disclaimer, we do have jurisdiction over that. The failure to put that disclaimer into the ad at the end of the ad, we absolutely have jurisdiction over, and I think what we said today is that we're going to enforce that.
Could you foresee more Republican Democrat coming together on the FEC?
Absolutely. We've worked together on quite a few issues thus far, and I think that we're going to continue to try to find places that we can work together.
Yeah, the two of us probably couldn't be more different, and we've been able to get quite a bit done. And in this, what we did here actually is such a good example of it, because Trey and I may not agree on what Congress should do here. I think Congress should regulate in this space and give us the authority. I think there's a lot for them to do here, and they've been doing the work in a bipartisan way like the states have. Trey may not agree with that, but what we could agree on is what the utmost we could do as the FEC, and we're able to stay out of the rest of it that is beyond what we as FEC commissioners were appointed to do.
Well, thank you. Get a little bit into the weeds for the FEC, and we appreciate you coming on Common Ground.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
You can see all the Common Ground segments on my podcast, Common Ground. You can find that in the All-Star Panel podcast under the Bret Baier podcast at foxnewspodcast.com, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. You can also see the whole extended discussion on the Fox News YouTube page. Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.